2nd Street, you'll find on the corner a real pub where you and your good friends meet once or twice a week for some beer, some laughs and some good grub. You take a half pint and I'll take the full pint. I'll be down the local before you, where me and the crew will be hoisting up a brew. Bonnie, bonnie pub on the corner. When you walk in the door, everybody says hello. The bartender says, how's it going? You tell them that you're great. Shake hands with all your mates. Sit down and watch the game that they're showing. You take a half pint and I'll take a full pint. I'll be down the local before you, where me and the crew will be hoisting up a brew. In the bonnie, bonnie pub on the corner. In the bonnie, bonnie pub. Cheers! In the bonnie, bonnie pub. Cheers! In the bonnie, bonnie pub. Cheers! In the bonnie, bonnie pub. You take a half pint and I'll take a full pint. And I'll be down the local before you, where me and the crew will be hoisting up our brew. In the bonnie, bonnie pub on the corner. The bonnie, bonnie pub on the
Welcome to the Pub Show. We're recording today at the Thistle and Rose, 171 Broadway in Orangeville. This is a weekly entertainment show all about pubs, beer, cider, wine, distilleries, and good music. The Pub Show is brought to you in part by the Beer Store, who has over 400 stores, and if you live in Ontario, there's going to be one near you. Our first guest today, I'm quite excited about this because I've never tried any of their product before, is Spy Cider House and Distillery, based up in the Blue Mountains, and we have Aubrey Schmidt here from the distillery to tell us about the distillery, and we're going to sample some of their ciders, and I'm really looking forward to trying the gin. So Aubrey, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So how long has Spy been going?
So the land was purchased in around 2014-15. First can came off the line in about 2018-ish, right before, a couple years actually, right before you know what happened. So we still consider ourselves pretty young.
Yeah. And was the land an orchard?
Yeah, so it's roughly an 80-year-old orchard,
Okay.
and actually it's 80 acres as well, certified organic.
Oh, certified organic?
Yeah, and we're changing a lot of the old trees over to a new batch, new European varieties of apples that are known for making really good apple brandy.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, when you went to a bar or any place for a cider, there would only be like one brand, maybe two brands, and they were mainly from England, like from Somerset or whatever. Now the explosion of cider in this country is unbelievable. And I noticed you guys, your distribution is amazing. I looked at where you can get Spy cider. It's all over Toronto, restaurants, all over. And what do you think the success is behind it? Is it the organic, or is it just a damn good cider?
Well, I don't like to brag, but and I might be a bit biased, but yeah, it's definitely a damn good cider, as you put it. You're right, though. You hit the nail on the head. There are a lot of cider. It's exploded. It's trendy. I guess one could call it trendy. I think our shtick that sets us apart from the others is the fact that we don't add any sugar. So the people that are anti-cider usually are anti-cider because some of the other brands are adding a lot of extra sugar. We don't add any sugar. Our sugar comes from the fruit.
So it's a natural sweetness from
100%.
the actual apple. Yeah.
In a 473 ml can, the highest that we have is 9 grams of sugar, and that's in the whole can. So, and that comes from the fruit.
And what are the apples used?
So you can guess probably one of them is Northern Spy.
Northern
Yeah,
Spy.
yeah.
So that's where the name came from.
It
right?
is,
It wasn't a love of Bond movies.
You know what? It's kind of a double play on
Is it?
words.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you read some of our spirits, Dr. Yes, our one organic cider is Never Say Never. So it's a bit of a double play on words.
And GoldenEye.
And GoldenEye, absolutely. So you've got the James Bond element to it, but also the Spy Apple.
Oh, excellent.
So we also have Mac. So it depends on the variety. I'm just looking at our display up here. The one that people often recognize is the black can on the end because it's in the LCBO.
Right.
So that one in particular has Ida Red, Northern Spy, and Mac.
Okay.
Yeah, so they vary.
And I know that you do a blackcurrant infused one.
We do. In fact, we do two of them. The red can, actually, you've got one there, spun around. That one, exact same apple variety as the GoldenEye, but infused with black currants from the Fraser Valley, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
so it gives it a bit of a tartness, ever so slight, and a pink hue, which is a nice look for that summer side sort of, or poolside summery, drink by the dock.
Which one is your flagship cider? Is it the GoldenEye?
I would call it the GoldenEye because it's in the LCBO.
Can we try one right
Absolutely,
now? Okay,
yeah.
that sounds good. Nick, you ready for a cider, buddy?
Absolutely.
My favorite sound. Oh, chink. You having one, Aubrey?
Why not?
Why not, eh? Nick?
Thank you.
Sorry, Bill.
That's okay.
So this again has 40% Ida Red, 40% Northern Spy, and 20 Mac. The Mac gives it the sweetness. The other two are a little more on the acidic side,
All right.
but it is a dry cider, and that's what people are wanting.
It's very clear,
It
right?
is. It sure is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. It's nice, eh?
Yeah, there's something in it that kind of just. There's something in it that kind of just shoots out at me once I, ingest
Oh,
it.
yeah.
So what is that? What's that kind of thing that kind of hit me right in the face as I take a sip
Is
there?
it the tartness?
I
maybe?
would say, some people do use the word tart. I think it's a strong word
Yeah.
because I only pick up, everybody's palate's different. I only pick up on a mild tartness. If anything, the Crimson Tide, which is the blackcurrant infused version of GoldenEye, I think that has a little bit more of tart to it because of the blackcurrants. But still coming in at between 7 and 9 grams of sugar per can.
Right.
So the reason why we chose the black currants over other fruit is because it too has a low sugar count, and we were able to keep the can within that 9-gram cap.
Yeah, a lot of the big brand ciders, a lot of people say, oh, they're way too sweet. Some people don't mind it.
Yeah.
But I think that majority is getting less and less
100%.
and less.
Yeah, I was just about to say, some people, you're right, some don't mind, but the majority definitely prefer the drier, less sweet. Yeah,
So-
less of a hangover.
Yeah. Yeah, it's working. Anyway, so when's your visiting hours there? Like
So
hours of operation?
your best bet is to go online because we recently were bought out. So we have new owners, and we are open 5 days a week, closed Tuesday, Wednesday. They're open now with some live music, so we want people to come up to the cidery and enjoy the area. We're like 10 minutes from the beach. A lot of people will hop on the highway and head to Niagara, where you've got the QEW and traffic, whereas going north, it's God's country. You go up through a lot of small towns, and you can make a whole day, if not a weekend of it.
Wow. And does Darcy still do her yoga on a Friday?
She does, yeah.
Yeah.
So check the website for times.
Yeah, for yoga times.
Yeah.
I think that'd be good, a good yoga workout and then a couple of cold ciders. Let's move on to the gin, the distillery part of Spy. Gin is overtaken vodka now in many parts of the world as the #1 spirit. It's just incredible. For a while it was fairly low. It had its
Right.
gin lovers.
Yeah.
But now, even in the UK, there are gin bars just sell 100 different kinds of gin. And how's your gins going?
Very well. It's funny because I always say gin is trendy right now. If I'm doing tastings or I'm at the St. Jacobs Farmers Market, for instance, which is one of the larger markets around, I get a lot of people inquire about the gin. And funny enough, it's usually the 19, 20, 21-year-olds. So it's trendy with the younger.
They're loving the gin.
Yep, absolutely.
We sell a lot of it at the Thistle and Rose. And it seems to be a younger crowd.
Yeah.
That were probably vodka drinkers or
For
whatever.
sure.
Now it's gin. And what's your gin infused with? Is it juniper? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. Juniper is one of 13. So it is, you will taste the juniper berry. You'll taste that piney flavor that you'd expect in a traditional gin. However, it is made with 13 organic botanicals, one of which is star anise. The other one is licorice. So I always find, again, everybody's palate's different. People pick up on a mild licorice flavor. Lemon peel being another one of the 13. There's a sort of a citrus at the back end. So there's a lot of flavors going on, but definitely smooth. I get people saying, oh, it's quite smooth. I encourage people when they do buy it, if they're going to use or they're going to make a gin and tonic or soda, that they use a premium mix as well.
Right.
Fever Tree is one that we serve up at the cidery. It's a premium spirit, so you should be using a premium mix, in my opinion.
Now we've tried the cider, excellent cider. I'd recommend anybody trying it. As I say, not too sweet. Aubrey, we're going to try your premium gin now, and this one's called Doppelganger.
Doppelganger.
Yeah,
yes.
another hint to the spy movies.
Absolutely, yeah. And I didn't point this out earlier, but you'll see again, tying in with that whole double play on words and more the spy theme. I don't know if you can make it out from there, but the redacted verbiage on the side of our cans and spirit bottles, sort of again sticking with that spy theme is kind of funny. People
It's
get a kick
good,
out of that.
it's kind of unique.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
anyway, I'm just going to ask our musical guest Cameron to come and grab a sample of gin, and Diana, who's a co-owner of the Thistle and Rose, she's going to grab a sample of her gin. Guys, if you want to grab a sample, we'd like people to let us know what they think about it. And if you want to describe what we should be tasting, Aubrey.
So again, with 13 organic botanicals, there's a lot of flavors going on. I think even by smelling it, you'll get that sort of juniper berry, that piney scent. And then when you drink it, that flavor, in my opinion, hits you first. And then two of the botanicals are star anise and licorice. So those two combined are sort of secondary.
Smell the licorice, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But even for those people that are anti-licorice, you don't really have to panic because it's mild. It's not overbearing. And then lastly, I find, anyways, lemon peel, which is one of the 13 botanicals. There's that citrus right at the end,
Wow.
and it's just the right amount.
Probably doesn't even need
Cheers.
a mix in it. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Oh, that's nice. That's complex,
Yeah.
but it's smooth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Wow. Thank you so much for visiting us today, Aubrey.
Oh,
We
you're
really
welcome.
appreciate it. And now, for information on Spy Cider House and Distillery,
Follow us on Instagram.
On
And we have a
Instagram.
Facebook page as well. We have our website. But most importantly, we're an hour from here. So,
Right, so
we're not far, and it's such a nice drive.
in the Blue Mountains, everybody, if you've never been up that way past Collingwood, it's absolutely gorgeous. Aubrey, on behalf of the Pub Show, thank you so much.
Oh, you're very
And
welcome.
we'll talk
Thanks
to you
for having
again.
me.
No
Thank
worries.
you.
Cheers.
Here's Drift Away. Day after day, I'm more confused. I look for the light through the pouring rain. You know that's a game that I hate to lose. I'm feeling the strain, and ain't it a shame? Oh, give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. And give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. beginning to think that I'm wasting time. I don't understand the things I do. The world outside looks so unkind. I'm counting on you. You can carry me through and give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. And give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. And when my mind is free, you know a melody can move me. And when I'm feeling blue, the guitar's coming through to soothe me. And thanks for the joy that you've given me. I want you to know that I believe in your song. Rhythm and rhyme and harmony. You help me along. You're making me strong. Oh, give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. And give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. Oh, won't you take me? Won't you take me? I wanna drift away.
Welcome to the Pub of the Week. This is always my favourite segment because I love pubs. I'm known as Canada's pub guy, and one of my favourite pubs in Orangeville is the Hatter. And I'm here with Perry Meeker. So glad to be with him. I've known Perry for over 20 years. And the Hatter is actually the oldest operating restaurant in Orangeville under the same management. Is that true, Perry?
Absolutely, Bill. So we've been around since the end of 1997 and the start of 1998. Officially, it's 1998 because that's when I incorporated. But we're actually opened the doors in late, just before Christmas in 97. And we've been under the same ownership all the way through. I tried to bring in partners here and there, but it never seemed to work out, and it's always come back to me. But we were originally located on Broadway, right in the heart of the downtown core. We were there until February 26, 2003. Unfortunately, that's when we had that devastating fire that actually took the building. Broadway was actually closed for 7 days completely. If you could imagine Highway 9 being closed for 7 days.
And was the fire accidental or?
No, actually, it was arson. It was one of my employees broke in, stole some money, and he lit the fire to cover his tracks.
Wow, what a story.
Yeah.
And did that make you want to give up or no?
It was actually quite interesting because there was so much community support at that time. As a matter of fact, many of my staff met right here when it was the Winchester Arms to have many discussions about what was going on during that time. And there was quite a few beers hoisted in this room when it was the Winchester Arms after that fire.
Yeah, I've been in here when it was the Winnie as well, a long time ago. You're quite established now where you are on First Avenue, right? Or is it First Street?
First Street, yeah.
First Street, sorry. Get them mixed up. I'm an Orangeville newbie. So you have a lot of specials.
Yeah, we run
quite a variety.
Yeah, we run specials every day of the week, and probably the biggest special that everybody likes the most is our wing night, which is on Wednesday nights, and we do wings and fresh shucked oysters from PEI. That's our Wednesday night special, and then also our big special is on the weekends. Friday, Saturday, Sunday we do slow cooked prime rib dinner.
I've heard that's really popular. I go there on a Wednesday for the oysters. I love oysters, and you can't get oysters in Orangeville. Well, at least I don't think you can. Maybe you can at Greystones or something like that, which is.
I'm not even sure. Yeah, we go.
Yeah, but you guys, for being, the restaurant pub, it's amazing that you carry them. And they're fresh and they're fantastic. You also have a lot of live music playing.
Yeah, we do live music every Thursday night from 6:30 to 9:30. There's a lot of businesses and a lot of pubs and restaurants and taverns in Orangeville that do live music all weekend long. We try to pick a night that's not a norm, and so we do Thursday nights kind of during like the après dinner hour, 6:30 to 9:30.
Right.
And that way people can still get home, go to bed, and get up and go
reasonable
to work.
time.
Go to work in the morning.
Unbelievable, eh? You got a nice big patio out back to the side of the pub. How many does that seat, your patio?
It's got a capacity of 44.
Wow, that's good size.
A little bit. We might sneak a few extra people on every now and then, depending on what we're doing. But yeah, it's a very popular patio. Lots of nice fresh flowers from our local 10 and 10 garden center that turn out beautiful as the season goes on. And on a hot day like today, it's a beautiful time to be out on the patio for sure.
Certainly is. You also do a bit of catering, right? Like you offer catering services. And just a few weeks ago, I think you did a barbecue to a couple of hundred people.
Yeah, we do offer a full catering service. We've hosted many weddings and many backyard barbecues. And just recently we did the town of Orangeville staff appreciation, and there was 250 guests at that. So it was a little bit chaotic for a couple of hours,
yeah.
but it was a lot of fun, and we came through it unscathed.
So Perry, let me ask you, how did you manage through COVID?
It was a very difficult time. Interestingly enough, COVID, when they shuttered us, they actually closed the doors for us on March 17th, which is St. Patrick's Day. Yeah. Which is the biggest day of the year for a pub owner and for a pub and for the staff. And you could imagine how much food prep we had, how
many kegs of Guinness.
Oh, it was incredible, and it was actually a bit of a weird time because what happened was we weren't really sure whether we should stay open for St. Patrick's Day because COVID was very prevalent at the time, and many places around were closing already or limiting the number of people in. And so we had already decided that if we did open, it was going to be very different, and we were actually going to it was going to be one person per seat, and it wouldn't be the regular St. Patrick's Day. So it was a very weird decision when the provincial government said no, you have to shut. So it took a big weight off my chest about having to make that decision alone, right?
How to make it work, right? But eventually, when people were allowed to sit outside only, you put this huge marquee tent up at the back of the pub. The thing could hold like 250 people or something. It was huge.
Well, we were really lucky because we have the space. We have a standalone property, and we had the space outside of in the patio area. And when they said that you're only allowed to be outside, the first thing I thought of was I need to get a big tent. And so the tent people had all of this inventory kicking around because they couldn't host any weddings because there was no outside weddings allowed.
They weren't allowed.
So they weren't allowed to at the time. So we picked up a tent for 2 full seasons, and we even tried to run the tent late into the fall and early winter with heaters inside the tent, and it seemed to work really well for us. And it's interesting how many people this season, because this is the first season where we haven't put the tent in play. They said, "Are you bringing the tent back?" It was so nice, right?
Yeah, because shelter from the rain, the wind, and you also had a couple of big screen TVs in there. So during COVID, people didn't miss their baseball games or anything that was allowed to be played at that time.
Yeah.
You know? So it's. What's your hours of operation?
We're open from 11:30 every day, 7 days a week. We do close most long weekends on one or two of the days on the long weekends. but 7 days a week from 11:30 in the morning.
Now, the Hatter is famous for a lot of its annual events, and one of them is the bus trip to Montreal to see the Canadians play the Leafs.
Yeah, we've been doing that for
You don't
a while.
have to talk too much about it. So.
We've been doing that for a little over 20 years with our friends at Tour Sport. Another local guy, Mario Arcuri, owns Tour Sport, and he runs trips all over Canada now for different sporting events. But the Montreal perennial trip always seems to be a favorite one. You get picked up at the Hatter and off to Montreal to see the Leafs play the Habs, and I think I've been. Out of all the times that I've been, I'd say that the Leafs only end up winning about 15% of the time on average. But Montreal's such a great city. It's a lot of fun.
It's got a lot of great bars as well. You also do an annual Lobster Fest, which is very popular.
Yeah, it's we coincided with Alexander Keith's birthday, which is October 5th. And we ship in a bunch of fresh lobsters from PEI, and we do a big lobster boil.
Yeah, and it's a sellout, right?
Absolutely, every year. Yeah.
All your events are sellouts. I always remember trying to join a couple of them and, sorry, no room anymore. Perry, thanks so much for coming on the show. Can you tell us your website? And
Absolutely. It's hatterpub.com, and you could just Google it quite easily, and you'll find it up. You'll find it quite easily online.
Well, thanks for coming on the show and being our first pub of the week. I'm a big fan of the Hatter. If you're ever in Orangeville, drop by First Street, look up thehatter.com and try some of the oysters. Thanks, Perry.
Right.
Cheers.
My pleasure, Bill. Thanks.
I'm a believer. I thought love was only true in fairy tales, meant for someone else but not for me. Love was out to get me, that's the way it seemed. Disappointment haunted all my dreams, and then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer, and not a trace of doubt in my mind. I'm in love, I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. I thought love was more or less a given thing. Seems the more I gave, the less I got. What's the use in trying? All you get is pain. When I needed sunshine, I got rain. And then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer, and not a trace of doubt in my mind. And I'm in love, I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. What's the use in trying? All you get is pain. When I needed sunshine, I got rain. And then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer, and not a trace of doubt in my mind. And I'm in love, I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried.
All right, welcome back to the Pub Show. We're here at the Thistle and Rose in Orangeville. I got Cameron Perry with me. Cameron, cheers, and thanks for joining us today. Cameron's going to be playing some music, so start off right off the bat. Tell me a little bit about your influences and your passion for music in general.
Oh, yeah. Well, kind of influenced by
a lot of different things. My dad mostly would play CDs back in the day when you burned them, and so there'd be a little bit of everything on those CDs, and I just learned to love a lot of the different tunes. So I'm a fan of like pretty much every decade. There's songs I can pick out, and I love to sing. I love to just listen to. So yeah, mostly just listening around the house. Yeah.
Awesome, and you play a lot here at the Thistle and Rose as well. Talk a little bit about playing in a pub atmosphere and the kind of vibes and like how fun it is to play just in a pub.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun because you play songs that people know. It's a good sing-along songs, and everybody, a few drinks into them are singing along with you too, right? So
absolutely,
that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you're playing a couple songs today. Talk about the songs you're going to be playing and why you chose them.
So I first chose to play Drift Away. It's a song that I always play kind of before I got up myself with my own guitar.
Yeah.
I'd get up with other bands and I'd say, okay, can you guys play Drift Away? And I'd sing with them. Okay. And so that was kind of the song that was my go-to for a while, so I thought that'd be a good one to do. And also, we're in the Thistle and Rose. It's a Scottish and English pub, so I chose a Scottish song for today, 500 Miles.
Oh, beautiful.
I'm going to try to mix it up a little bit as well, so that should be really fun. And then I'm also going to play I'm a Believer because just a good classic song, and I love that one. Yeah.
Awesome. So not only do you play here every so often at the Thistle, but you also work here.
Yes,
you're part owner with your father. Talk a little bit about like the atmosphere and like why people love coming to pubs. And you're here most of the time. You get to know the regulars.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about, and our viewers, just how great it is to work here and the atmosphere and the people, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like the best thing about a pub and about the people is the atmosphere. It's just I love serving and working here because you come in and everybody's happy because they're getting food, they're getting drinks. And I like to match that as well. Like I'm having fun, and especially when there's music playing on a Saturday Saturday afternoon. It's sunny. It's people are filling the place, and it's just a good vibe. Everybody's singing along and just getting along as well. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so you make it big. You're on the big stage. You can play. You can play with one of your favorite artists. Who is it and why?
Oh, that's a tough one. There's so many good ones. Wow.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, that's
Cameron.
okay. I think probably the one that comes to my mind first, maybe because I saw him on Instagram earlier, but Dave Grohl would probably be an amazing.
Oh, Foo Fighters, right on.
The rock star right now, right? So I think that would be awesome, and he's such a good guy too, which
sure.
I really like. But I mean, if I could go back in time, I would love to play with the Who in their prime, or even the Chili Peppers. Wearing a Chili Pepper shirt today. Yeah, I love Rivers Cuomo from Weezer as well. So I mean, he seems like a really interesting person to meet. So
right.
I think that would be, I don't know. There's so many. I mean, I would meet anybody.
All right, and anyone listening right now, that's like playing live music takes a lot of guts. So what would you say to somebody that's watching right now that maybe might not have mustered up those guts to play live? What kind of advice would you have for someone that's looking to play in local pubs or to play like any kind of show with their talents?
Well, that's a good question because I was so nervous the first time. I'm still nervous. I was so nervous the first time and the second time and the third time, right? But I think just do it. Like, just go for it. What do you have to lose? What do you really have to lose, right? I mean, if you practice at home, and if you can do it at home and you think it sounds all right, then it probably sounds even better in a pub or in a restaurant or on a patio or in a backyard or around a campfire, right? So just go for it. Just do it. And the more you do it, the better it is, the easier it gets. So
awesome. And then to kind of close off this interview here, why don't we plug the Thistle and Rose? What would you say to people at home that maybe not have stopped by and checked out this great, amazing local pub?
Oh yeah, and I mean it's a great spot to be. I mean, you can see behind us, the dartboards are a lot of fun. We got tons of board games here, and it's always a good time here. I mean, we always have a lot of fun. The staff here are always having a lot of fun. They're always on your side. They're always, making you laugh and everything like that. It's just a fun place to be. So.
Yeah, and we're right in the middle of smack dab of Broadway, right on in Orangeville.
Yeah, and great patios too. So just out front to people watch, or the back patio if you're looking for something more quiet. So. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Cameron, for joining us on the Pub Show today. We're going to get into one of your songs right now, but make sure to stick around. We got more guests here on the Pub Show.
When I wake up, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you. When I go out, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. If I get drunk, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's getting drunk with you. If I haver, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's havering to you. And I would walk 500 miles, and I would walk 500 more to be that man who walked 1,000 miles to fall down that shore. Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, 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 da-da-da-da-da-da-da. When I'm working, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's working hard for you. When I have money comes in for the work I do, I'll pass almost every penny on to you. When I come home, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's coming home to you. When I go out, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes out with you. And I would walk 500 miles, and I would walk 500 more to be that man who walked 1,000 miles to fall down that shore. Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. When I was a young boy, Mama, she told me there's only one girl in this world for you. She probably lives in Whitby. I go the whole wide world, I go the whole wide world just to find her. I go the whole wide world, I go the whole wide world to find out where they hide her. Maybe she's in the Bahamas, the Caribbean Sea is blue, pining away in a heat wave there, 'cause nobody's talking about you. I go the whole wide world, I go the whole wide world just to find her. I go the whole wide world, I go the whole wide world just to find her. And I would walk 500 miles, and I would walk 500 more to be that man who walked 1,000 miles to fall down that shore door. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Go the whole wide world, I go the whole wide world. Yeah! I go the whole wide world, I go the whole wide world just to find her. I go the whole wide world, I go the whole wide world just to find where they hide her. I go the whole wide world, I go the whole wide world just to find her. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Pub Show. I'm your host, Bill Perry. I'm here with producer Nick Hughes, and our guest for our Beer of the Week, or Brewery of the Week in this case, is Phil Winters from Goodlock Farm and Farmstead Brewing Company. This place is located on Shaws Creek Road in Alton, and it's a beautiful place to visit with your family, for all the outdoor fun, for live music, chickens running around trying to grab your sandwich if you drop it. And it's just a great place. Welcome, Phil.
Thanks, Bill. I appreciate it. You nailed that in terms of the description. You only left out the disc golf course, 14 holes of disc golf.
That's right. You have disc golf there.
Yes, sir.
14 holes?
Yes.
And people can just play?
Yes. People, enthusiasts bring their own discs, or we loan them discs. And
Right.
a lot of families send their kids out just to get them stretching their legs and throwing a disc into a basket. It's great.
And you've got the cornhole game there as well.
I mean, that's obligatory, right? Every
it?
brewery's
Yeah.
got a cornhole set up.
Yeah.
People make fun of it now. There's so many of those.
Yeah, it's awesome. But it's great for parents to take their younger kids there, because the kids can go and do something.
Absolutely.
While they enjoy something to eat and a couple of pints. Speaking of pints, we're going to try 3 of your many varieties, all mainly local hops.
They're 100% Ontario hops.
100% Ontario, yeah.
The hops we grow at Good Lot Farm are literally in every one of these beers, but we work with 3 or 4 other Ontario hop farmers year by year to get the supply that we need to be able to brew the volumes that we brew right now.
And when you're with your spent over grain, you give that to a local chicken farm, right?
Not a chicken farm. It
No,
goes
it's not.
to a chickadee farm, so that might be part of
Oh,
that.
maybe
So
that's
chickadee farm, Jean-Francois lives literally, his farm is on the same side of the road, about a kilometer south. And so he rolls in his little tractor every time we brew and drops off an empty bin and puts a fresh, we give him a fresh bin of grain, and he feeds it to his pigs, his chickens, and his beef cattle. And then Phil Dewar buys that meat from Chickadee Farm and serves it on our food truck. So there's this like very circular food thing happening on Shaw's Creek Road, honestly.
And what got you into being a brewer and a brewery owner? Would you always have a love for that local organic feel and everything?
Well, definitely on the organic, local sustainability side, that's
Yeah.
been my lifelong sort of passion in terms of how I operate my life and the work that I've done. But I've never brewed beer in my life. I'm legitimately not the chef. Mike Brooks is the amazing brewer that makes these amazing beers that are all super clean, super enjoyable, varietal, but all very approachable in terms of the styles that he's brewing. I've always loved craft beer from the beginning of Upper Canada and other breweries that I could get my hands on. But I lived in Colorado for 10 years, and it was just like the Canadian craft beer industry was in infancy in the 10 years that I lived there. But the Colorado craft brew scene was already extraordinary. And so the beer, I'd literally discover a brewery and I'd try their beer for the first time, and it would blow my mind that someone could make something so good. I'd just go back to that well over and over. And then my last job in Colorado, I worked for a guy named John Hickenlooper, who was running for mayor of Denver, and he owned the first brew pub in Colorado called the Wynkoop Brewery. And that was really inspiring to get to know John and his journey from geologist. I'm like giving him a campaign speech right now. This is exactly what he says on the campaign trail. Geologist to craft brewery owner. But I got to see the behind the scenes of that industry, and I really enjoyed it. And so when Gail and I became farmers in 2009, acquired Good Lot Farm, we knew we were going to grow something. We didn't know what, but we ended up on hops in that first winter because there was a global shortage of hops that winter. So every farming trade report, special situation crop report was talking about hops as a good side hustle for established farmers because the price had spiked dramatically as a commodity. And so that's what started us on this journey. Was we started growing organic hops for Charles McLean and for Muskoka Brewery. Those were the two. I knew James Tien was the head brewer at Muskoka at the time, and I loved Charles McLean's beer. It was the first beer I found when I came back to Ontario that really blew my mind. And so I went to Charles and I went to James, like, I'm going to grow hops for you guys. What varieties do you want? And that was European noble varietals for Charles, of course, and Cascade and Chinook and Centennial for Muskoka at the time. So that's what got us going.
I love Charles McLean. I've interviewed him on a radio show quite a few times. He's such a character and he's so passionate.
He's the
about
godfather.
Oh, yeah.
He's the godfather.
He's amazing.
We all have jobs because of Charles McLean is what we say.
Yeah, he was excellent. He's a great guy. He lived in a little village just in County Durham or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, he's got a beautiful little cottage that he lives in with the brewery, and I always forget the name of the town the brewery's in right now. But McLean's Ales they make great beer. So
you've got a love for bluegrass. I can tell because every time I go to your place, there's a bluegrass band playing, but it gets a good crowd. People love it. It's excellent, and you have live music. Is it every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
That's correct, and long weekend Mondays as well.
Yeah.
So anytime we're open, we have a live music venue going for sure. Bluegrass, Saturday or Thursday is Jazz Day with the Coster McGibbon Band, who is a local band out of Caledon. who've been playing our stage since 2019 when they were 15 years old.
Oh,
They
really?
held down Thursday nights from the beginning, and now they're both going off with scholarships to music jazz schools in New York and Toronto next
Wow,
year.
talented.
But bluegrass, again, credit goes to Colorado.
Oh, yeah,
Bluegrass
yeah.
scene in Colorado is super, super strong. And when I moved back to Ontario 15 years ago, I guess, I found a small bluegrass scene here, and I was really into that, and I want to support that genre of
Yeah.
music.
I know they used to have the big tour, annual festival at Tottenham.
That's happening right now,
Is
like
it
this
really?
weekend. I don't know when
Wow.
this is going to come out, but it started Friday. It's happening Sunday. They're
Yeah.
serving Good Lot beer there, so it's
good.
better than ever.
Well, let's get to the beer. At the Thistle and Rose, we serve the Farmstead Ale, and it's one of our best sellers. And it's amazing how many people from out of town will come in and go, what do you have that's local? We're visitors here. We can drink the big brands any place in Ontario. What's local? And we always say, try the Good Lot. And they go, and what is it you call it? Sunshine in a can?
Sunshine in a can.
I love that. So we're going to try a little bit of this.
Let's do that.
A bit of this. If you want to explain.
Sure. I mean that's our
Well,
flagship. That's our flagship beer. It's the first beer that we ever made on a commercial scale. After many small batches of different styles that Gail and I liked, trying to find a recipe that we thought was unique enough and interesting enough to share with people. And the concept of that beer was to find a beer that would express the terroir of our farm. That's sort of like the starting of our interest in actually vertically integrating the farm into a beer production facility as well, was what is that base ingredient, our well water from a dedicated well that makes beer. What's that going to taste like with our hops that are grown on our farm with the water that is coming out of that well? Try to find local grains. That has proven much more difficult. And then we don't have our own yeast strain at this point, but Farmstead's the first beer, so it's a pale ale. We wanted to go, even though the trend was moving to low alcohol, which has continued, I see a lot of that still happening, we brought that out at 6.2%, and some of the early batches were probably at about 6.5. That's part of why it's Sunshine in a Can, because it's a strong beer, but it's all Cascade and Nugget hops. You know, that's the only two hops, and that's because those are the two hops that we grow primarily on our farm, and so that was the base ingredient. And it's still our Cascade and Nugget, but we also buy from Hey-Ho hops and a few others to supplement now, because that beer is, you know, it's become bigger than our farm, and so it's actually, you know, candidly, it's brewed at Wellington now for us,
Right.
because we can't handle the volumes, and so
Oh.
Mike Brooks, who we,
So that's a good thing, right?
well, it is a good thing. I mean, it's good. I mean, otherwise I'd have to invest another $1 million to buy a whole new brewery after I just started a 10-barrel brewery, and that's
Yeah.
just not feasible for a little farmer like me. So, and it's Vermont. It's a Vermont style. It's New England style yeast. That's the part that I like about this beer, because I really find that with those Cascade and Nuggets, it really pushes up the citrus attributes of that beer. So a lot of people drink it for the first time and think, you know, did you put citrus in there? But that's 100% coming out of the hop addition.
What's the dominant hop in there? The
So it's
Cascade?
Cascade 2-1 against Nugget.
Okay,
and that
yeah.
rides through from Whirlpool, Flame Out, and dry hopping. It's sort of the same attributes across the whole board. So I try not to tell people what they're going to taste on these, because I want
Right.
your palate to inform you. But
Yeah.
I get stone fruit and I get a little lemon, a little bit of breadiness. It's got a really complex grain bill, and it's unfiltered. All of our beers are unfiltered, so there's a mild haze, but it's pretty clear, and it is super delicious.
Oh, I love it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have a drink now, right, Nick?
Cheers.
Cheers, Phil.
I find it's very unique in the world of pale ales. The idea was also that half of my farmer neighbors, they don't drink craft beer. I wanted to see if I could sort of bridge them into it with a flavor that was complex enough but simple enough for them to enjoy, while also appealing to craft beer drinkers to say, oh, that's a nice sort of light, easy pale ale in a New England IPA, hazy IPA crazed world that was emerging as we released this beer, I guess. So
Good timing.
yeah, I guess so. Anyway, I love this beer. It's still my go-to all the time.
You got to love that Farmstead Ale. 6.2%. It's got a kick to it, but it's so smooth as well. And you do get that citrus element. I'm just catching it now. We're going to move to a West Coast IPA called Yonder. Very popular, 5.5%. And Phil's going to talk about it while we open it and pour a couple of samples. This is the greatest job in the world, Nick.
So Yonder, I mean, again, you know, sort of harken back to Colorado, where I think I got my craft beer legs particularly. Everybody, I mean, it's the dawn of the craft beer industry. We're the Westies, Cali Ale yeast, the Big C, Cascade, Chinook, Centennial hops, a lot of dry hopping. So it's when we started changing from sort of, I think, those like British IPAs, which were dominant. An IPA was sort of a European style IPA, and the Americans, you know, created this craft beer movement essentially out of California, and Cali Ale yeast was a big part of that, and these Chinook, Centennial, Cascade hops as well. So I love this beer. I love because the color of the beer, very different than Farmstead, kind of matches the color of the can as well.
I should have tipped the glass while I was pouring. And I'm
well,
a bartender.
No, you've got a big floofy head on there,
Yeah.
you know, it's nice and
Yeah,
fluffy.
I like the foam.
But this, I mean, a Westie, so I mean, again, Cali Ale yeast, not a super complex grain bill, a lot of dry hopping though. That's sort of where people started to really get into the nose of beer, I think, in the modern age. And this used to be the most popular style in North America, hands down, when I think Canadian microbreweries started making beer. Westies were probably a big part of that as well. Charles McLean and European styles. But this is like what craft beer tasted like when craft beer started to emerge. And so it's coming back in style, I think. I think more and more people are making Westies now. But when we started making this beer, Mike Brooks brought this recipe to us a couple of years ago. Not a lot of people were. And we were like, this is a beer that is like a staple of Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Think of it that way in my mind. And I love this beer. It's a little bit more piney. It's a little bit more resinous, I find. It's got a little bit more of a hop kick to it, but very balanced. Like, it's a great beer. We should drink it. We should totally drink this beer.
Come and get your sample.
I love this job.
Holding nice lacings. Yeah, I mean, it's my other go-to right now.
It is hoppy.
But balanced, right? It's still, but it's definitely, it's got more bittering hops in the kettle for sure in order to give you that bite, which is how we started differentiating in some ways, I think, with the North American style of craft brewing.
So
I had 2 of these last night, you know.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, it's a luxury to have 11 beers to choose from out of your fridge.
Yeah,
And I drank 2 of those.
it's excellent. Cheers again.
Cheers
Phil.
again. Cheers.
Well, we got one more style to go through, and it's Pilsner, and it's spelled Philsner, named after Phil himself. And this is probably a lighter beer, right?
100%. So, I mean, this is a lager. So, this is the only lager that we're going to try today. And I really debated between, you know, that lager. We actually have 2 lagers. The Country Dark is a German Dunkel. It is super smooth. And the Belgian Nitwit is also, it's just so complex and interesting, you know, because of the yeast strain and then the additives we put on that. But the Pilsner it's a full-time beer at the farm. Again, I think European varietals are definitely coming back into our European styles, and therefore the varietals of hops that need to go into them in Ontario. It's the one thing that we struggle with for our hop supply, since everything's only Ontario hops, is finding enough people who are growing European varietals, because they do not do well in Ontario. They are very susceptible to downy mildew, to pests, which is why, you know, Cascade, Chinook, and Centennial are dominant in this province and in North America wide, because they were bred for this, you know, for a more North Americanized versus European environment. So Mike Brooks is, you know, he, again, head brewer, or the only brewer, I guess I should say. He's the head brewer of a team of 1, but he's the CEO of the brew house, but he is an amazing, I mean, he literally is just so obsessed with making these as perfect as possible. He cares more than anybody I've ever met. And so he's the one who said we needed to have a Pilsner, because we didn't have a Pilsner in our lineup. And a lot of Ontario breweries will not make actual lagers. They may use a lager yeast, but nobody dedicates 10 weeks tank time to a beer anymore. We're 4 weeks on an IPA, any ales that we do minimum, and 8 weeks minimum on all the lagers that we do. And Mike will not allow this beer to be packaged until it has hit terminal gravity. It is truly finished. This is probably the most popular beer on our farm right now in terms of takeaway and pours on the patio. Because again, it's light and easy approaching, and people still half of my patrons are still looking. They come in just asking for lagers. That's their perception. Is I want something light and easy drinking. I'm not necessarily a huge craft beer fan. I'm
Especially
here for
when
the
they're
experience.
outdoors in the hot sunshine, right?
Yeah, totally.
They want something
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
They like sometimes the more complex beers in the comfort of their own home, and so they can taste it like a meal. Okay, so Phil, tell us a little bit about your operation hours, and you have a food truck on site.
So we're open. Our outdoor facility, our beer garden, is open Thursday through Sunday and holiday Mondays. Generally, Thursday, Friday it opens at 3, closes at 8. Weekends and long weekends it opens at 12, closes at 8. Essentially, we have a full-time food truck, which is Phil Dewar from Soul Live. For locals here in Orangeville would know this for sure. Soul Live was probably the most popular restaurant in town for a number of years, and so Phil is chef de résidence at Good Lot in the Good Spot, so it features Soul Live, but it's a whole variety of different foods. Long weekends are reserved for Caribbean fare, so every long weekend is a Caribbean festival at our place, basically. Arrow Blackwood is usually our musical guest on those days, and bottle shops open the same days, but we're trying to get people to connect to nature. That's kind of the idea of coming to our farm. Literally, you're sitting amongst the hops. You're sitting amongst the ingredients that is literally going into the beer that you're drinking, and to create a very safe space for everybody to be there. The only thing we don't tolerate is intolerance on our farm, so don't come if you're an asshole. And we are trying to keep this very much a local secret, and I guess this doesn't really help all that much because we don't want too many people to come.
Yeah.
We want to keep it very local and accessible to everybody here who's been our supporters from the beginning.
To be honest, the amount of customers that come into here that'll say to me, "Have you been at Good Lot? You've got to go to Good Lot." I say, "Yeah, I've been," and then they just love it, and they treat it as their little secret.
Yeah.
But they're telling everybody.
Yeah, I know. I always tell them, only tell your best friends.
Yeah.
Because we've had the situation as we've opened this year. We've had to close the gates a few times where we don't have very many parking spots, so we have to close the gate. Yeah. And I'm a local who I've seen there 150 times rolls up to the gate, and what am I supposed to do? And I want to preserve the sanctity of this space for our local supporters who have been there drinking our beer from the get-go. And so it's a bit of a balancing act right now, but the idea is to connect people to nature as much as possible and advocate for nature at the same time while they're there, so that they think about what they're consuming as an agricultural product.
Okay, thanks so much for being on the show, Phil. And if you want to find more about Good Lot, I think it's goodlot.beer.
That is correct, Bill.
Goodlot.beer. Thanks so much, Phil.
Oh my gosh,
it's been
thank you
it's
very
been a
much.
pleasure. Good Lot, a great selection of beers, wonderful beers on tap at the Thistle and Rose. Well, here's to the first episode of the Pub Show. I'm Bill. This is Nick. I'd like to thank our guests from Spy Cider House and Distillery, Phil from Good Lot Brewery, Perry Meeker from the Hatter, our musical guest Cameron is absolutely awesome. And we'll see you soon. And check out our Facebook page, The Pub Show. Check out our YouTube channel, The Pub Show. Check out Spotify, The Pub Show. It's all about pubs. And we'd like to thank the Thistle and Rose for hosting us today. You're ever in Orangeville, 171 Broadway. Come on in, you'll enjoy the place. It's a lovely place. And over to Nick to tell you what the future's going to bring.
We'll have episodes coming to you as soon as possible, whenever we can. Basically, wherever we're here at the pub, we'll be shooting an episode of the Pub Show. If you want more information about the guests that we had here today, check the description below. And, make sure to support local, and we'll see you at the Thistle and Rose. Cheers, Bill.
Cheers, Nick.